Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hi, and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. Whether you're listening to us on KCAA, the NBC affiliate out in California, or watching our podcast on one of our many platforms, we really appreciate you. Today, we have returning Jennifer Welch Nicholson. We're so glad she's back. She's the executive director, original member of the Cowboy Girls at the beautiful Riata Ranch. Thank you so much for being back, Jennifer.
I'm so glad to be back and to talk about some things that have happened since the last time you and I got to chat.
Absolutely. So it's only been 4 months, but so much have happened to you, and I couldn't wait to do the show. And you kind of teased the audience with, hey, we're doing something, we can't talk about it. So yeah, maybe we can talk about it today.
Well, I can tell you now, but I couldn't
Awesome.
tell you then.
Awesome.
So I don't know if any of you listeners saw this, but on March 8th, which was in conjunction with International Women's Day, Wrangler released a commercial featuring myself, and one of my students, and it really encapsulates what the Riata program is really all about. We're not just trick riders and ropers. The program really is a leadership program and a mentorship program. And this video really, I knew what the commercial was about, but the first time I saw it, it gave me goosebumps, and I put a little tear in my eye because it was so well done. And all of that goes to Scott Pommier, who was the director. This was his brainchild about how he wanted to put it together. All that had to happen is that I had to show up. Ava Davis, the 10-year-old girl that's featured in the commercial, had to show up, and Comanche the horse. We just had to be there, and it was his vision that put it all together. And the music that he chose was just
Amazing.
Just unbelievable. And I got to tell you, I'm very proud of that piece. I really am very proud of that piece because I think it tells the right story about what it takes to be good at anything. It doesn't just have to be trick riding, but to be good at anything. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah,
you're right. It is. And sometimes you eat a little dirt, but it was almost like watching a mini movie. When it first came across and I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. And then did you know going in how great this was going to be? Because it really is not.
Well, I got to tell you, I knew it. I didn't know what the final product was going to look like, but I know Scott because I'd worked with Scott before. Scott is a well-known photographer, mainly. And when I first met him was in 2014. He was doing fashion photography and videography for an online magazine called Flaunt. And it's a high-end fashion magazine. It's not, I'd never heard of it because I don't know high-end. I'm not that person. But anyway, they came out, Scott came out with a crew, and they had tons of equipment. They brought in some models. Our living room of the house was just filled with racks of all this high-end clothing. They used some of our girls and our horses, and they used the ranch as the backdrop. So I knew of Scott's creativity, and when I saw what he did for Flaunt, was pretty incredible then. And then we finished that photo shoot, and of course I didn't hear from Scott or anybody for a number of years. And then I want to say it was August or so, Scott called and he said, Jennifer, I have this idea and I want to run it by you. And we discussed, the different Western products that we're associated with that maybe possibly would come on board and help make this all happen. And I got to tell you, it was Wrangler who jumped at it. And I don't even think they knew what they were getting because I talked to their marketing director, Johnny, and even he said, everybody I'm showing this to is that there's just a tear in their eye. And that's all Scott. He just took what we do and packaged it in such a beautiful way that it could tell anybody's story. I mean, anybody that's ever done anything where you really had to work at it, and there was a goal behind it. One that almost seemed unattainable, but you finally get there. This could be anybody's story.
Absolutely.
And then of course, the way that we couched it, of course, the actual performance video was taken at Salinas at the rodeo last year. So that is an actual performance video of her performing. And so, that just really crushes it, doesn't it?
It really does. And to know that was actually a real performance, I didn't know that. So that's really interesting.
It just, but when we filmed it, here's an interesting part about that is that we actually filmed the performance first. And then that was because if you remember Salinas last year, they moved it to September. So we actually performed in September, and then Scott came to the ranch, and we filmed the ranch scenes. We filmed in November. And so it was really kind of crazy at the end of October, first part of November. No, it was November. We were filming in November. It took 5 days to get that.
5 days. I was going to ask you how long, because it's so beautiful. There's so many different shots within the show or the commercial. It's like a show.
And then the rest of it was taken at the ranch. So all of those scenes were in Three Rivers. Well, we did go to a different location for one piece of it, but all of that is in our hometown of Three Rivers. And I gotta tell you, it really is that beautiful.
It was gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
It really is that
so
beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, especially this time of year is all green. It won't stay like that, unfortunately. So don't come out in the middle of August and say, where's all the greenery? Because it won't be there. But when it is green, that's exactly what it looks like. And we get those misty mornings like that. And, then later on the sun comes out. It's almost like the coast weather. So it's beautiful. But I just thought Scott just captured everything beautifully. And then the young lady, Ava Davis.
Yeah, let's
she's
talk
only
about
10
it.
years old. She's 10. And she's a second generation Riata rancher. Her dad.
Is she really? That's so cool.
Her dad rode at Riata when he was a teenager. Right when I took over the program, her dad Kyle came to the ranch and rode and helped me with the ranch. And then when they moved to Nevada, when he came back, Ava got involved in the program. And I really think that Ava did a great job. I mean, she didn't overact it. I mean, she made it seem very real. I mean, for a 10-year-old, I thought that was fantastic. I was the one that had to keep telling, just less is more, Jennifer, give it less. Don't overdo it. And it's like, okay.
You would never know she was so experienced, because she really looked like a first timer.
She really handled it well. And she took direction really well. And, she was believable. That was the thing. It didn't, even though she had to fall a gazillion times, she made it look believable, and her expressions and just the way she handled it, she made it seem as if that was it. So when we put it together, they were able to, of course, switch it and put the training time first. And then next thing you know, the fireworks went off and we're at Salinas and she did it.
So cool. Yeah. So cool. So what was it like? Did you get to tell her she was going to be in the commercial, or did Scott?
So the way that this worked is I had Scott come out and I said, look, I don't want to choose the girl. I want you to. You know what you're looking for. You choose who you want. And he said, well, you're in it because I need what you do. And I have a few young ladies training, but he kind of liked the grit that Ava presented. He was looking for someone who was gritty, and she had that toughness and grit to her, and a sense of just kind of I don't want to really say being naive, but being naive to a certain point where she's still untouched and still the girl from down home, just down the block, coming out to ride horses. And so Scott chose the girl, and he said, this is, I think, who we want to go with. So really, it was just really a fantastic experience. And here's the thing, because the last time I was talking to you as well, I was in the middle of buying the ranch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's how this was going. I say, okay, Scott, you have me for 15 or 20 minutes, and then I have to go sign documents. So
Oh my.
I'm filming the commercial, running back into the office, doing, you know, all the documents and all the things you have to do, you know, to buy property, running back out, doing my piece in the commercial. And I mean, it was such a crazy time.
What
and
an
we were launching our
incredible.
wine label.
Oh, how incredible is that? Just one of the three would be just incredible. So
Yeah.
what a day.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was, I got to tell you, yeah, 4 months ago when we were talking, I had so much going on,
you did.
and hoping that it was all going to work, right? I mean, I was hoping that it was all going to fall into place. So the commercial was such a great piece, and I got to tell you, it has shed some light and brought some notoriety to the program, and people now really, I think they get more of a sense of who we are and what we do. It isn't, you know, people always say, well, I knew you rode horses, I just didn't quite know exactly what you did. I said, yeah, I know, I get that all the time, that you don't understand the depth of the program and how deep it goes and really what we're trying to accomplish here. So I'm very, very proud of it.
Absolutely. I mean, it really does kind of show everything what y'all do, the whole progression. Have you heard from anybody at Wrangler or Scott about what they thought of the commercial?
Yes, actually, their marketing director was so excited about it. It was a last minute add to their media packages. So right now I know that they definitely wanted to do an online piece with it, and they're strategizing on how to use it again. I know they want to buy some TV time with it, so it'll probably end up on TV. I don't have any control over that part of it. They're also, and hopefully it'll end up at some of these horse shows or rodeo events.
Absolutely.
You know, where Wrangler's a sponsor and they show that video. I just think it's so captivating and such a great
really
piece.
is. I'm not just saying it, but it really is. I was watching it and I was like, man, that's so cool. You know,
it is like watching a film.
It really is. And I love how it kind of took you behind the scenes of what y'all do.
Scott will be right back with more.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Today, we're going to talk about something I'm really passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. Those that don't, now you know I do. And we've been working on this for several months, and we wanted to get it just right. And we don't put our name on anything unless we feel 100% certain it's the best product we can get. And we've done it. I really believe we've done it. We've created a coffee line, 13 great flavors. I'm going to show you 3 of them. We have K-Cups in all 13 flavors. Here's a Jamaican Me Crazy. It's just a really great coffee. Everyone has great logos. It has a brand, the same brand that's on our horses, our trailers. You know that brand means something, and we wouldn't put it on here if it wasn't good coffee. We have whole bean. This is a great Honduran blend, and it's a whole bean coffee. We have whole bean in all 13 flavors. And then we have a ground coffee. This is a really great one. My wife and I really like this a lot, loved it. So we named it after our daughter, Haley's Blend. Everyone has the packaging and the logo of the show, our brand, and I hope you like it. I really believe you will. And we're going to have more flavors coming out soon. We're going to have the pumpkin spices, and then we're going to go to peppermint after that. And please send us your suggestions as well. You can find it at cowboyentrepreneur.shop. Think coffee shop. Cowboyentrepreneur.shop. Thank you so much.
As far as the commercial, was there anything behind the scenes of this major commercial with Wrangler and Scott that you didn't expect, or was maybe kind of funny that you could take our audience back?
Well, there's a scene in the commercial, and I don't know if where I'm standing, and this really isn't funny, but I'm standing with her in the arena. I'm standing and I'm facing her, and she's looking out, and you can't tell so much in the video because he's sort of cut it, but she was crying, and the reason why she was crying is she actually just gotten hurt.
Oh.
And I was afraid that she wasn't going to be able to continue. So
Oh,
I'm standing and I have my hand on the horse's neck and I'm kind of touching him saying, yeah, are you okay? Are you going to be all right? I mean, and I really was quite concerned. She just hit her, it was just a freak thing. She hit her shin on the cantle of the saddle. And it's just the way she hit it. She was in quite a bit of pain right there. And it was real. Of course, they come up with the cameras and they're capturing all this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really real.
oh no.
But other than that, the hardest thing was they kept wanting the horse to run away from her. We really had a hard time making him go away from her. I mean, he just kept kind of wanting to stick with her, and they wanted the horse to run. So we had to get really creative on how to make the horse move. So it didn't look hokey or it didn't look contrived.
Right.
But he really just, there was just moments. I can't say there was really anything because the way it all happened, my mind was on trying to buy the ranch.
Sure.
Just happened to be making a commercial at the same time. So
Oh my.
it
That's
was
just
a crazy time.
It
And
is.
we were launching our wine label. So, I mean, it was all happening at once. Yeah.
Well, since you brought up the wine label, where can people find your wine?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So my brother is a winemaker out in Paso Robles here in California. So there's 3 main regions in California for wine. Of course, everybody knows the Napa Valley, Sonoma, that's probably the most famous. And then there's also Santa Barbara County. They have some great wines there, Southern California. But the Central Coast has really come on really strong in the last several years. Just to give a little background on my brother, he taught winemaking at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. And he's traveled to Europe and he's done some wine kind of all over the world. About 10 years ago, he decided to launch his own label, which he did, and it's called Torch Cellars. So Torch Cellars. And also about that time, the professor that he was teaching with at Cal Poly, they had come up with this idea that we should develop a Western wine label, but make really good high-end wine.
Right.
And I thought that was all great and wonderful, but I just wasn't quite ready to jump into that ring. But as it would happen, we started the process, and as it all started coming together, it just all accumulated last November too.
Wow.
That's when it all came together. So it is called Riata Ranch Cabernet, and it is a very, very nice wine. And is my brother's, it's his best Cabernet. So it's his high-end wine, is like what he likes to call it. So anyone can just go to www.torchcellars.com. And you can look at all of his wines. He has award-winning wines on there from Sunset Magazine. They do an international wine festival, and some of his wines have won, like his Chardonnay's a double gold, and he's won some very nice awards. But you can find the Riata Ranch Cab on his website. 10% of every bottle that he sells goes back to the Riata program.
Oh, that's awesome. It's great to tie back. Well, I'll tell you what, in 4 months, you've done a lot, that's for sure.
Oh, let me tell you, when December 31st hit, I was pooped out. I was a tired girl. I can tell you, we just had so much happening all at the same time. And but that's the way life is. What's that saying? You just have to be prepared for when that opportunity comes. Boy, that opportunity came, and we were just going 3 different directions, literally very, very hard. But wow, 3 really great ones, I'd say.
Yeah, I think they're just going to pay dividends, the more the commercials play, and for sure. Absolutely. So have you seen like more inquiries about how to become a Riata Ranch? Maybe someone take lessons there, or maybe even try out.
I've got to tell you, it's as if someone kicked the barn doors open. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so last year, the other thing we were dealing with, and I was talking with you even then, is in September, we live outside of Sequoia National Park, and there was a fire that broke out. It was it ended up being 87,000 acres. Wow. So from the September, October, November, we were our town was pretty much shut down. So we had no activity going on in Three Rivers proper. December was kind of, December's December. And then January, February were kind of soft months because the park wasn't quite open yet. People were just now, getting, 2021 had ended. Here's 2022. People not really sure what they wanted to do. As soon as this commercial aired on March 8th, we are so busy right now. We are just, it's incredible how busy we are getting people wanting to come to the ranch and wanting to come meet the young ladies. And I just had, Riata Ranch is also a 501c3, and we just had a fundraiser last Sunday, and we gave people an opportunity to sponsor our horses, because the most important element of our staff are our horses.
Absolutely. That's so cool. Yeah.
Without our horses, we can't get to the end game of what we're trying to do. So as a 501c3, because of pretty much 6 months of having very low activity, we needed a little help, just putting some money in the coffers so we can get back to normal. So we decided to sponsor out our horses for $2,500 a horse per year. We're giving people a do half year, 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. And the horse that you sponsor, you will get updates of what that horse is doing throughout the year. And so we just had a really nice event at the ranch last Sunday, and we got 8 out of the 15 horses sponsored out. So
that's so wonderful. It was so creative. I love that, and when I speak to nonprofits, that's the one thing, being creative like that is just amazing. And I loved how you said they even got, they met the horses and they stay in contact with the horses.
Yeah.
And they even had some of the girls signing stuff, right?
Well, we did, and what I did is I did a showcase, and I tried to use as many horses as I could. I couldn't use all of them, obviously, and I tried to show the different horses we have in our program and what they do, because every horse has a different, it's a different job. Not every horse can do everything, but we try to have our horses have at least 2 different jobs, and then the girls got to talk about their horses, or the people got to see the girls on the horse. And so that part was that was really, really wonderful. And we ended up actually doing a second demonstration afterwards, where the audience actually got to ask questions of the girls as they were riding, and they asked some pretty intense questions, and the girls answered them they were very articulate and
awesome.
Really told their story. And, I think that too is where the guests that came there got the sense that there's a lot more going on than just girls riding horses.
Isn't that neat?
So
Isn't that
neat?
It
is really neat. It is really neat. We've had a really good last few months for the program, and I'm super excited. And and this year Riata Ranch is marking its 65th year as an organization in Tulare County. 20 years. This marks my 20th year as the executive director.
That's awesome.
So a lot of milestones going on.
There's so much going on. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So with the kids, is it mainly kids trying to learn how to trick ride or wanting to ride with you, or is it adults maybe?
It's all ages.
That's awesome.
We
That's
used
so great.
Now Riata used to be known mainly as a youth program. That was the main thing Riata was known for. When we moved up to Three Rivers, we had to rethink our business plan, because we moved out of the major metropolitan area and went to more of a secluded area. And it's just not easy for parents to bring their children after school for a riding lesson if you don't live nearby. It's a 45-minute drive from the main town to where we are and back. And it's in the mountains.
What's the main town?
Visalia, California.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're between Fresno and Bakersfield, basically.
Awesome.
And so we rethought our business plans. So we now offer family riding. We have adults. We have a lot of, there's a lot of adults or even young people who've had a bad experience with the horse, and they're deathly afraid of them now. And I've always said, well, when you have a bad experience with a horse, it's for real. And that being frightened is a real thing. So we also offer ways for people to get over that fear of just being up close and personal next to a horse again. And we got to work on the fear angle. But we have adults that ride and they bring their children and their children ride. And we offer just just Western riding lessons as well as the trick riding and trick roping.
Wow.
So,
wow.
yeah.
So neat. When I watched the commercials, like, man, I want to go do that, you know, and I think some of those moves I've done already accidentally, you know, but it looks so fun. It's so inviting the way you did it. And people going behind when they watch the commercials, they can see the different tools you use to teach.
Right.
How you do it.
Yes, that's right. We included the vaulting barrel and, you know, because a lot of times, you know, when you think about what we do, you want people to be handy with the vaulting barrel before you actually get them on the horse. Otherwise, they wear your horses out. Yeah. You know, because you know if you're trying to jump on and you're just pulling on them all the time, you know, so you have to develop what we call the lift, and people, you know, a lot of core energy has to be core strength, a lot of arm strength, timing, all of those things go into it. So you save your horse. You want to be as light as possible on your horse with what we're doing so that it's effortless for the horse and the horse is just carrying you and not having to also adjust so much to your weight. So there's a lot of things, a lot of balance has to be put into play. And of course, confidence you know, you have to build everybody's confidence. And you know, everybody's different. So yes, we have a lot of different ways that we can train people and build their confidence that is not necessarily on the horse. So there's other things that we can do to just kind of put that all together.
So you just don't go out there and just jump on a horse and start flipping around. There's other ways to do it.
Usually that's not usually the way it works. Sometimes you get a very athletic person and somebody, you know what you have to understand about trick riding is you have to know foot placement, okay? Because everything's based off of tying 3 in the left lead because we do everything to the left. So you have to know when that left leg is on the ground. So so there's a lot of things that go into trick riding. It isn't just about putting somebody on a horse and having to do some, you know, stand up on them. I mean, we can do that, but to be really good at your craft, you have to know foot placements. You have to feel every step. You have to know where you are on the horse. You have to feel your horse. You have to know what lead he's in. You have to make sure he's in the correct lead. You have to, there's things you have to understand about horses in general to be a really good trick rider.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what would somebody that maybe is, I'm asking this, my daughter's a dancer. Well, she grew up on horses. Are you looking more for dancers, or do they, because of the placement, the foot placement and the awareness and the timing, or is it more athletic, or is it just if you have the effort, the grit?
It's all those things. It's all those things put together.
I love it.
I would say I was more like some people tend to be more athletic, kind of have more of an athletic approach. Others have more of a dancers or more artistic approach to it. But in order to get the results of whatever we're doing, you still have to understand everything's based on that timing and foot placement. And we do lots of drills with the girls, just running beside their horse like in a trot. So their front leg, the rider's legs have to mimic the horse's front legs. So if they're trotting, they have to be in the same step as a horse's front legs in a trot. If they're loping, they have to learn how to do that lope,
Right.
And then it really is all about building core strength and upper body strength. Push-ups and pull-ups are part of the regimen at Regatta.
Is it really? I love that.
Yeah. And sit-ups, because you have to be strong. You have to be strong with your core and you have to be strong with your arms.
That's so great. So does most of the people coming out to do this, have they been around horses before, or are they first timers?
It's all over the map. I have 2 young ladies that are sisters, that are training with me right now that learned to ride at Regatta and then got hooked on the trick riding. And they're excellent because they were surfers. They live in Southern California. But now they want to ride horses. So that's great.
Very cool. Very cool.
Others, like the Australian ladies that come over, in Australia, they have to ride in pony club. So I get these young ladies from Australia that ride very, very well and understand flexion, and they, you know, they know about collection and time one and all those things. So I don't have to teach that to them. I just teach them how to apply that to a trick riding horse. And they can trick, and sometimes they can already trick ride, but mostly they learn it at the ranch.
Very cool. Man, that's so cool.
Scott will be right back with more.
Staying with the energy of your horse, because the faster your horse goes, the more energy it takes from you as a rider to accomplish what you're wanting to do. You have to ramp it up. If your horse is ramping up, you have to ramp up. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, you got to feel the horse, man. Everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then the second piece of that for me then is teaching people how to be professionals. My girls hear me say that a lot. You know, I say, you got to be professional. You got to be professional. And I said, you know, I'm teaching you how you're going to take on a job someday, that you leave, you know, you're no longer just a girl down the street, or you're not just here at home, but you've got to put on your professional side face. You've got to put your professional side forward. You're representing a brand.
Right.
And so, you know, that's another thing that we teach, is how to become a professional. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So what's the first trick? Is there like one go-to trick or one go-to ride that you teach them first? Like this is the basic, the confidence.
So there's three basics, because there's three things you have to learn how to do. Okay, so in trick riding, there are two different kinds of skills. One is a ground trick. So somewhere within the execution of what you're doing, you have to use the ground. So you punch off the ground to get wherever you're going. So a real basic thing is what we call a vault. So, and I think everybody needs to learn how to vault, because when you're starting a new horse, you don't want to be strapped in. You want to do things where you can get, where you're safe. And to me, a vault is probably one of the safest things that you can do. It also, the horse has to learn how to keep going. We teach horses to stop when we fall off or step off, right?
Right,
the
absolutely.
trick has to know to keep moving. You have to keep the horse in forward motion. So a vault is the easiest way to do it. So all of my girls have to learn, like I was telling you, the timing. They have to know foot placement. And we start with two things. One, they use their arms, and we just have a pattern where their arms go side, forward, and up. And it's when that front leg hits the ground is every time you move, whether it's in a walk, trot, or lope. The other thing is you run beside, and then when that left front leg hits the ground, that's when you punch the ground. And there is a way to do it. There's an execution. There's a method, and you use the lift that the horse gives you, and you get above the horse. So you want your whole hips and legs to go above the horse, and then you land in the saddle. That's just a basic vault. So we teach everyone to do that. The other thing we need you to learn to be comfortable doing is being above the horse as it's moving. So we teach everyone to stand up, which is called the hippodrome. So there's a strap that goes across the swells. You put one foot on one side, one foot on the other, and you're balanced. It's pretty intimidating if you've never stood on top of a horse like that when it's moving. They put you so far up above.
Yes.
And then the other basic thing is a parallel fender drag, where your left foot is in the fender, and then you bend under the fender and you're laying parallel next to the horse. So you're used to being in these. So those would be the first three things we would teach you. Now, depending on what your skill level is, sometimes those girls are so athletic and they're great at the ground tricks. So we really work at teaching them all the vaulting tricks that there are, the double vaults where you go from side to side, which was my specialty when I was trick riding. I could really do the double vaults, going from side to side, or the split the neck where you hit the ground and then you land backwards on the neck, or around the horn vault, or off the back from the croup, and you do the croupers.
Oh, wow.
Those were all my tricks. I was a ground trick girl. I did lots of ground tricks. Or strap tricks, which are stationary. So you put your foot in a strap or a handle on the saddle, and you either go upside down or off the side or off the back in a tail drag, or whatever you do. So we find where what what you're suited for. And it's really exciting when we can find a young lady that can really do the vaults, because it's not as common.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah.
So who helps teach the class? Do you teach all the classes, or is it the Rialto Ranch team that helps teach, or how does that work?
So the team teaches, and I also have alumni come back and help teach.
Cool. Cool.
At the same time. I do teach. I used to teach a lot more, but my other job, like running the business,
Yes, absolutely.
Because my responsibilities have become a lot more, and I unfortunately don't get to be in the arena as much as I used to be. There was a time when I could divide that pretty evenly, but the business has gained some success, and along with success, no matter what you do, comes more responsibility. So I find myself more and more at my desk, on the phone, just taking care of business, making sure everything gets done, keeping the lights on, make sure we have money to feed the horses and make the program keep going. But I really do miss being in the arena and teaching as much. I do some, I just don't get to do as much as I used to. So wow. I have to rely on others to help. Yeah.
Absolutely. So how does somebody make the team? How do you know when to put them on, or is there a test, or how does that work?
Well, we have an achievement test, but it isn't always just based on whether or not you can do the skill. You understand this, being in the horse business, everybody wants to, right? Everybody wants to until they have to.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So you have to do a character test, which is just as important as a physical test. All right.
It is. It sure is.
Because when you commit, and especially with what you do, and you have someone says, oh yes, I am going to come ride for you, I'm going to do this, and they have the ability and they have all that, but the first time they client said, well, I can't come in today, I got to go shopping, I don't know. Well, that doesn't work. I mean, you go shop another time. This is what you have to do. And so you build that work ethic, and you have to build that commitment. And anybody that's in this kind of industry understands that it's not glamorous. The glamorous part is about 10-15 minutes. Done. The rest of it is truly in the barn, and it's hard work. It's riding horses. It's being up at 6 a.m. It's saddling. It's, taking care of everything behind the scenes, so you can have that 10-15 minutes of where you shine. Right.
Right.
And it's, so people have to be in love with the process. And what I find most of the time is that most are not in love with the process. They're in love with the idea of looking good on a horse, and going to a show and performing. But all the other stuff, they forget that you really have to do. And Scott, when you get there, this is the other thing, even when you become successful, all those things that you did to get there, you don't quit doing them.
Right.
Like, you keep doing
You just have to do more of it.
You just have to do more of it. I always tell people, I said, look, in our minds, success to us is like a beautifully wrapped package with this beautiful bow. And I said, but in reality, it's just a crumpled up old paper sack with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I said, that's what it is. It's just hard work. It's just, and sometimes you don't know that you're successful because you're still doing what you do to maintain, and you kind of have to look back, and when you just go, oh, hey, I think I kind of made it. Just like last year, it's like, hey, I just made a Wrangler commercial. Hey, we just launched a wine label. And hey, I just bought the ranch. But at the time I was doing it, let me tell you, it didn't feel like that. It felt like hard work, Right?
It was hard work.
And it was hard work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that, how you just keep the next hurdle. You're focused on the hurdle and not the back stuff. And I think that's so important in anything.
And especially if you want to stay relevant. And I think probably, if from my perspective, I think what I'm the most proud of is I've been doing this since the mid 1970s. I went to my first rodeo as a performer in 1976. Here we are in 2022, and we're still relevant. We're still doing things. We just made a Wrangler commercial. We're going to be, we're going to rodeos this year. The girls are are performing. I have new people coming. People still want to see this kind of program continue. I think that that to me is really exciting.
That's a huge
and I'm really
deal.
proud of that. Yeah.
That's a huge deal for any business to stay in business that long, much less be so relevant, to still keep plateauing every year. That's amazing. You had 3 plateaus just in 4 months. Yeah, it's just amazing. It just shows you can do stuff, if you just got to keep working at it. So who was the performer at your first rodeo? Do you remember?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The music performer at your first rodeo back in the 70s.
Buck Owens.
There you go. Oh my goodness.
We were at his rodeo. That's what's our first okay, let me tell you I don't know if I told you last time, but I'll tell you again.
Tell me.
So I didn't know anything about rodeo. Okay. I didn't come from a rodeo family. I was riding rank cow horses, man. That's what Riata Rich was doing. So that's what I was gonna do. Yeah. We just happened to be taking trick riding lessons at the same time that we were riding our rank cow horses. And the next thing I know is Lex Conley and his wife Edith Happy Conley are helping us out, and I don't know who any of these people are. Like I'm clueless, So anyway, I'm watching. Anyway, Edith is making our clothes. I don't even know who she is. I'm 12 or 13, and anyway, so the next thing I know, we're loading up for going to this rodeo, right? And man, the first rodeo cowboy I ever met was Monty Hawkeye Hansen.
Oh my goodness. Hall of Fame.
I had no idea that there was people in the world that like that. I'd never met anyone like that in my entire life. And then we go up to the announcer stand and we meet the announcer, and there was a gentleman behind the microphone by the name of Bob Tallman.
Oh,
Didn't know there was anybody in the world like a Bob Tallman. Never met anyone like that in my life. And everybody was excited about a bull named Oscar. Okay, that's what I walked away with it from a rodeo. And we were at the Buck Owens rodeo. We met Buck Owens. Okay, I knew who Buck Owens
was.
But I walked away and I went, well, that's rodeo. I kind of like that. I hope we get to continue this. I think I'll do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I got started. I got introduced to it. It wasn't something I grew up wanting to do. I didn't know anything about trick riding. I didn't know people could do those things on horses and actually not get hurt and survive it. I didn't know there was such a thing as trick riding or roping. So
that's such a cool first rodeo. That would hook anybody for sure.
Oh, it hooked us. We were excited, and then our rodeo careers took off. I mean, I think for the next 2 years, and we were so young. I mean, we were all 13. There was 4 of us, 13 years old. And back then, you could rodeo in California and never leave. I mean, we started in February, I think, was Palm Springs, and November was Brawley. And you could go to a California rodeo all year and never, never leave the state. Yeah, can't do that now, but used to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. So when they make the team, when they get their uniform, what's that experience like? I mean, for somebody.
It's we've done it so much, I don't really think about it, but first we get girls and they cannot wait to put the outfits on. They can't wait to put it on because it is an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really, you go from it being a dream now, a young girl wanting to do this, working your way through it, going through what the commercial says, falling down, scraping up your knees, not accomplishing anything, eating dust, thinking it's never going to happen. And then one day you work and you pass your different achievement levels, then you make a commitment, and then you get to go to your first performance and you get to put that outfit on. It's a badge of honor for these young girls, and you get to do your hair and your makeup, and you get to be with the big girls, and you get to go do this. And so those kinds of things, though, have to be earned, and and I think that's what makes it so special, is that it's earned to be able to put that outfit on and to see the light in a young lady's eyes that she's finally arrived and she's good enough to go do this.
It's so cool, That's so cool. It just reinforces, all of that hard work for that one ride she
Right.
gets to do in front of the fans. And that's so
Yeah.
neat she gets to do that.
Yeah, and and when the audience is behind you and there's nothing like a crowd that's really behind you and just cheering you on, and it's exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I love how you have some of your alumni come back too.
Yeah.
So I bet that's fun for the kids, or maybe for someone that's getting lessons, to get to meet them.
And it's fun for me to reach back and to have some of these ladies that some of my best friends are girls that I rode with. So it's really fun for me to have my friends back.
Oh,
But then it's also just great to be able to tap into the resources and the knowledge of these other alumni that know just as much, they'll know what I know.
sure.
And come in and have a way to reconnect to the program that meant so much to them, and then be able to pass along their knowledge to the up and comers. Rihanna's just really unique. It's a really special program.
When we did our show 4 months ago and you were on it sounded so great. I went to the website, I looked at it, I was like, I really want to go. And then I watched that commercial, and it really brings clarity to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, thank you for that. I do too. I got to tell you, of all the things that we've done, and I've done quite a few, and I've done some really special things, that I'm very proud of that commercial. I'm very, very proud of it. And I just think, again, Scott Pommier just did an amazing job directing it, putting it together. He being able to see, what I'm about, and then, what the program is about, and then just to be able to put that in a script for him and do it in 2.5 or 3 minutes, whatever that is.
It was amazing. Yeah. I wanted more, and I was like, man, I'm just replaying and showing a commercial, but it's not a commercial. It's really a story.
Yeah, it is truly a story. And we're going to be, this is kind of a cool deal. We're going to be at a match bronc riding in May.
Cool.
And they're going to show that video before we come into the arena. Yeah.
Neat. Well, I'm really proud of Scott, but Wrangler for getting behind that and just making it so perfect, and it for brand awareness, it really is a strong commercial.
I think they were. I think even they were. I think they were even surprised at how well it came out. Yeah. Yeah. They were very happy with it. So as long as they're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't believe it's already, the show's over. It just went by so fast.
Oh gosh. Well, Scott, I enjoy being on the show with you, and I hope I get to meet you in person someday.
Oh, I want to come down over there, man. It would be so much fun.
Yeah. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I love it. We got to figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
All right. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. Congratulations on all your success, and we'll be talking soon.
All right, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good,
We named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to cowboyentrepreneur.shop. That's cowboyentrepreneur.shop. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to cowboyentrepreneur.shop to order your coffee today.
KCAA Loma Linda.